Okay, we are live. I am mucking about with things. Hello, everyone, to Kitbash, where we're going to be doing some interesting stuff today. I need to shift this around a bit so you can actually see me. So this is my Sharazaku 2 real grade. And I had a bit of a problem with it when I was originally making it because I lost the eye piece. And what I'm going to do today is try to fix that with basically kit bashing. I'm going to take some pieces from this kit and try to essentially make my own replicated eye. I'm going to see how that goes. And then I'm probably going to move on to some other things. I need to, that's not the right... Huh, that's funny. 1 second. Do I have a different... I should. Yeah, that's more like it. Let's get the right model kit on there. That would help. There. Okay, so let's see. Let's look at this. Get a sense for what we're doing here. So the eye. Where'd the eye go? There's all the illustrations, which are nice. Not what we're looking for. There's the body. There's the head unit. Alright, so the head has... Yeah. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is take off the head. Pop off like that, and then I'm gonna need to pop that off. So there's a little plastic piece that goes right here. You can actually kind of see there's a little stud on the end of this this piece, and that's where it goes on to. So what I'm gonna do is grab some of these plastic pieces. In fact, I think I actually have some that might do rather well. Might do perfectly. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. There is actually, ironically, a spare little plastic disc on here that's meant for something else, I assume. And so I'm going to pop that off. That looks pretty good, and I think I'm just going to paint some red on that. Just paint a dot of red on it, and then basically glue it on. Whoa! Ah! 1 second. Knocked some things over there. I'm going to grab some red paint. And hopefully this is going to work. So, let me get these things out of here. And we're just going to see what happens. So first thing I need to do is grab my red paint. I'm going to just use a toothpick. And then just for ease of holding it, put that on my hand. I'm going to dip the toothpick in the red. And then... trying to think of what a Zaku's eye. So if that's there, that's there. Just gonna see what this does. Try to get it circle. Woo. Not easy. Now it's sticking to that. Oh, getting a blob. Ooh. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just smear the red all over it. That's just going to have to be what that is. And I'll clean that red off my hand in a little bit. So maybe instead, what I need to do is just cover it very Yeah, no, that rubbed it all off. Okay. Try that again. I'm just going to cover this with red. Oh, see, problem is the red tends to stick to the toothpick. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm going to let that sit for a little bit. Ooh. And then let me just rinse this off real quick. Now the problem is that might not fit. That thing might be too big for that cavity. So we'll just have to see if it works. Meanwhile, so if that didn't work, what I would have done is snipped off other pieces of this and just taken part of these and just glued that on as a little eye. Just some red plastic and found something. But for now, we're going to use that and we'll see how it goes. So we'll come back to that after the paint has had a chance to dry. And we'll glue that on. In the meantime, we'll move on to another model kit. Ooh, that might actually be an interesting experiment as well. So what I've got over here, and that I'll also be sort of playing around with and thinking about, is my next thing. Move that to one side. Is this. So one thing we need to do is fix the title, which, now that I look at it, it's awfully low. That's better. And also, of course, the image isn't correct anymore, so let's fix that. Stand by as we fix images. Wax 79 ball. Gunpla box. That usually works. Gunpla box for the actual image of the box. That's not it. This is I believe it's a high grade. We'll try just Gunpla then. See if that works. Huh, that's weird. Let's just try RX-79 ball high grade. It does not want to show us the box. That's funny. Let's try grade box. Ah, there's no image. All right. Well, we've seen some that show kind of the assembled one. Yeah, that'll have to do. Fair enough. We'll just fix the image. Oops. Need to put it where it belongs before we do anything else. There you are. And we go in. I actually had a bit of a scare recently because I was trying to get trying to read off of a spare hard drive, and it caused some issues. Stuff suddenly stopped working, basically, which is not much fun. That will do. In fact, let's move it down a little bit and move it. It's weird. Huh. Oh, I see. Put it there then. Okay, there we go. So I was having some issues with actual imagery and finding things, but I think we're good. The my hard drive basically disappeared for a while. But I was able to get it back. We're all good. So this is a double ball kit. And one of the things I'm going to do with this actually is play around with 3D modeling. And I'm going to change around some of these things. I'm actually going to kitbash with the 3D printer, which you might be able to hear in the background. And I'm going to try throwing on some odd little pieces that suggest sort of battle damage, essentially, for these guys. So I'm going to replace some of these pieces once I've essentially assembled it and gotten that figured out. So, meantime, let's go ahead and start on this. I'm assuming the instructions are going to be basically, yep, just go and build one and then build another one. So we will almost certainly get through one of these tonight, which is good. By the way, I've been mentioning this for a while. I've got a new CPU upgrade coming tomorrow, actually. And so hopefully I will have time to install that tomorrow. And the CPU upgrade will allow for a much higher frame rate for these live streams. Looking forward to that. All right, so we have C. We have, there's duplicates of everything. Cool. So I feel like this is going to be pretty easy because we have a B, another B. Okay, so it's A, B, and C. Cool, cool, cool. All right, great. So one duplicate of the A, B's, and C's. Hey, Kuma. How you doing, Kuma Bear? Love that name, by the way. Bear. That's funny. So let's go ahead and assemble these. And unlike the prior ball that I assembled, this is pretty simple. Like the ball itself is basically just two pieces together, and you go from there. So we're going to start with, little exclamation point on A13, going into A4 because there are some orientation issues there. Yeah, making a ball. I always loved the ball. As soon as I saw it in Gundam, I was just always intrigued by this idea of this very functional machine, obviously not a military machine, that they were repurposing as a military weapon. I think it's a really neat idea and something that is just evocative. You know, it's nice when something is not as clearly a toy, not as obviously a toy, if you will. All right, so this goes in. There is a bit of a line to it. We've got to make sure that we're aligning that correctly so that it's, glad I checked. Yeah, okay, so that goes in there. I think that's going to be that little orange bit. And then we're going to grab B7 and B19, which are clearly either side of the ball. I did not end up doing Otaku no Cooking last night. I was beat. So we got through the discussion, we got through pretty much everything else, but Otaku no Cooking, I had to hold off until some other day. B7, actually, yeah, B19. So that's unfortunate. Didn't quite work out time-wise. Am I bleeding? No, I don't think so. There's a little red mark. I don't know if you can see it right here. A little bit of red on the ball. I just want to make sure I didn't accidentally, rub something the wrong way and I'm bleeding somewhere. But I don't think so. I think it's just, just somewhere in the manufacturing there's a little bit of red paint. Great debate, went well. A little unfocused. There wasn't really much to talk about because it was just real life crossing over with anime. That happens. People see that, but it's not really a huge thing. We need two of those. Okay, I did not realize that. Cool. Yeah, so in 2 weeks we'll do that Otaku no Cooking because I'll be out of town next week. Still doing a live stream, I hope, but nowhere near a kitchen next week, unfortunately. yeah, I think it'll be a helpful video for folks to watch. You know, it'll still be worthwhile to kind of think about. Okay, so this goes on either side. Well, that makes that easy. So we just kind of, and pretty obvious. And then, yep. Okay, I think that does it. Yep. Okay, so there's that, and there's the cockpit up front. All right, so then we grab B10 and C8, moving all ready to B. There's B10, that weird sort of cog top to the ball. Jack and Daxter, nice. It's a franchise I never got a chance to get into. C8, that was during my non-time as a gamer. Or I guess that I was gaming at the time, but not on console. So the C8 goes into there, and there's a pretty obvious orientation. And we make sure that the... okay. Ah, yes, all right. There's a specific orientation there. Goes in very nicely. And then B5 and B14, which are both sides of the cockpit there. There's where's B5? B5. Yeah, PAX East is next week. Although the sci-fi convention is not for another, I think that's in June. So PAX East is the video gaming convention. I go to a lot of conventions. It's kind of crazy. I'm going to have to change something about that. Alright, so there's that. And then there's 14. Was it? B14. The other half of that sort of enclosure around the cockpit. Come on. I've actually been spending much of the day watching histories on various toy franchises from the 80s. So Transformers and G.I. Joe, but also things like, you know, Micronauts and Starcom and Silverhawks and all that stuff, which is interesting. Alright, so that's B14. That's going to go down here. That just kind of goes on there. I think. Oh, I need to... Didn't realize I had not sanded that down. There we go. Yeah, sure enough. I do love leaping through space and time. That is very much a true thing. Speaking of, I would love to... I've been thinking about ways of making the library look more like the inside of the TARDIS. That'd be fun. Install some lights. You know, especially like some weird mood lighting. Ooh, that doesn't want to go in right. Huh. What did I do wrong there? Is there... Oh! Huh, 1 second. Have a peek. Oh, yeah. Not been noticing bits that need to be shaved down. I am not honoring this very well. So this should go in like that, right? There we go. Okay. And this should go in like there. Okay, good. So now we have our cockpit. Definitely feeling kind of TIE Fighter-ish. Alright, then we A2 and A3 go on top of each other. So there's the, no. A2 and A3. Alright, yep, there's that sort of auburn cockpit thing. Brento fighting. A2 and A3? A2 and A3. Which... is that? Oh, interesting. There's a little tab on the side I almost cut off. Glad I looked. Yeah, I think it'd be cool and quirky and such. All that dynamic lighting is expensive, though. you know, the like the Philips Hue light bulbs and such. So I may look for some of. They have those cheap like LED strips. Might be fun to play around with those. Might try some 3D printing some things. I don't know. Okay. So we have. How does that go? Okay, so this goes in like that, presumably? Yeah. Okay, good. And then it goes in like that. Just like a puzzle. Okay, good. Yep, so there's that cool cockpit thing. Oh, no. Shoot. Glass. I was wondering where the glass was. There we go. Yep, there's A14. Nearly forgot the cockpit glass. Could always green screen it. That's true. I do have a green screen. Need to refigure that out with the like maybe when the new camera comes in a couple of weeks, I will redeploy the green screen and see if I need to rearrange it. Maybe put it in a slightly different position so that I can really do some fun green screening things. All right, so that goes here. Oh, good. That just fits right in there. And then we have our... Yep. Okay, good. So there it is with our glass lens. Cool. Yeah, I do have a mini green screen. It's just actually the problem is I use it with this camera, which has a more focused focal length instead of this camera, which has a wider camera lens, if you will. So when I did the camera, when I switched from that camera to this camera, which is a little higher quality, the camera was way outside of the green screen, so you could see a banner around of the green screen. So I need to kind of reconfigure that and rehang that, maybe just reposition things a little bit and experiment for a little while. So when the new camera comes in, that might be a thing that I play around with live, where I just spend like a Saturday for an hour just playing around with things. Also, you know what I might do? Well, no, we're already low enough on video. Let me pull up. I've been playing around a bit with this thing called VCV Rack. Let's see what happens here. I'm just going to experiment with VCV Rack, which is a modular synthesizer. So it essentially generates sound, and we're going to see ooh, that's very yeah, it's very chunky. Wow. That's not gonna work. Okay, fair enough. Never mind. Oh, but what I can do, that'd be kind of fun. I actually recorded some of this. So if I go to here, I should have that. Can I play that back? We'll see how easy or hard it would be to play this back, and how much that will consume my system resources. Audacity is kind of dying out here. It's loading a lot of audio. Encoding overloaded. Turn down video settings or using patch encoding. Yeah, that'll so. There we go. Cut that down a little bit. Now, can I adjust? I can. We'll just have that going a little bit in the background. So that's more or less auto-generated music. So let me know if that's too loud or too soft or whatever. And we're just going to have that going in the background for a little bit. All right, okay, so we've got a part of our ball. Time for that jetpack in the back. So we need B4. Yeah, it'd be fun to play around with some of those things. B4. B4 what? So we can cut that off there. Oh, it wants to come off. Interesting. Yeah. So this is the kind of stuff that you'd hear in Blade Runner, in terms of the instrumentation and such. They would use tools like this. It's all software. It's all free, and you can buy some modules for $10 or $20. A1. The bottoms of those. Oh, that pops right off. Nice. Little soft. 1 second. How's that? Yeah, that's about 5 clicks higher. It's a little harder because I've got like my volume versus OBS's volume versus the volume in the outputting in the software. So I can change it in multiple different ways, which might have a kind of a multiplier on there. Multiplier. And so if I get this done tonight, what I will probably do is play around with markers on it. I think this just goes in the one way. Yep. That's fine. Cool. Okay, so there's our little jetpack. It just goes on the back. Easy enough. And then we're going to add the thruster thing on the bottom, which is B11 and B12. Looks like those are 2 halves. B11 and B12. Yeah, that's weird. So B11 and B12 are actually 2 halves of a disc that you put together. That's definitely not the way they normally mold those. But I guess because they do have, that does kind of make sense because they have those so it's these guys, and they kind of have to do it that way so that the detail on these come out of the mold. Interesting. Okay. So those will just snap together, hopefully. See, I'm really glad I finished Gunbuster. That was definitely worth watching. So now I'll move on to Vampire Princess Miyu OVA, which I've heard good things about. Gothic horror. Apparently very nice animation, but also just very atmospheric. And so then we have a little thruster plate on the bottom of that, which is B15. Right there. Share the lower on the RB79 ball. So I don't know too much about it. But basically the ball, it's construction equipment. It was the original major device used. Interesting, so that goes right on there. Cool. They want to snap this on and then put on the thrusters, but I'm going to put the thrusters on first. And the idea is in space, you want this very utilitarian design, right, for space construction. I mean, very simple. So it's just a sphere with a glass, viewport out front, and then gripper arms. So when you're making a space colony, building a space colony, or building a spaceship, whatever, this is a very simple design for something that you can go and grip a torch and do things with. And so this was the sort of core utilitarian vehicle. Okay, 28. Yep, this is them. In the Universal Century for colony construction. And then as the Federation got increasingly desperate with the progression of the war, they started just taking balls and slapping guns on the top of them. Literally just, pulling them in, put a gun on top, and then send them out into battle. And, balls, they have no armor, they have no, they're just completely pointless in battle. So it was kind of a sign that they did not know what they were doing, or that they were just desperate for firepower. So it's one of the neat things about balls is that they're just they're essentially civilian machines. So this goes on the bottom there. There we go, little thrusters. So here's a good example where you have your ball, you have these thrusters on the bottom, these thrusters around here that let you do some lateral movement, and then these giant thrusters here for more thing there. So you can go up very easily with the thrust from these, but you can also maneuver fairly well. And then because of the mass of it, you know, if you have a thrust going out here, it's actually going to turn it. So you can really adjust how you're moving. All right, then we're going to add B6 on both sides, which are, I believe, also, yep, those are also sort of side thrusters, I believe. So you do see balls in Gundam, Universal Century Gundam, just around doing stuff, like completely outside of war. They're just hanging out, being used to build things or otherwise transport materials. And it's just a very sensible design. And one of the ideas is, as they moved on, so the idea behind the Zaku and other humanoid machines is it's basically a ball kind of scaled up. It's you know, this torso with arms, so you add legs onto that, and you kind of build out from there. But this central thing is central to a lot of mecha design in Universal Century, sort of sphere with things added onto it. All right, so we put these on the side, and I'm going to assume, yep. Huh. Goes like that, yep, all right, so that fits very nicely like this. So here are these little side thruster things, I think. And now we begin adding, oh yeah, then they have these pods on the bottom, which I think are, yeah, those are for the arms. So we attach B18 to B8. Here's B8. One of the neat things about Universal Century in general is that there's a lot of thought given, B18, just to how that society would function, how you would build space colonies, how a space colony would be designed. There's a fair amount of thought behind that you can actually appreciate in this universe. You know, the basic classic space colony design was called the O'Neill cylinder. That was actually proposed in the 70s as a real design. Okay, so we attach this like this. There's the base of that. And then we're going to add B16 on the side. Yeah, BB-8. It's a lot of fun. I love BB-8 because BB-8 is a very... yeah, it feels right for that universe, if that makes any sense. What am I doing wrong here? Ah, flipped around. B16. Okay, there's a B16. Where BB-8 is not quite as straightforwardly functional as, say, an R2-D2. But it's just a clever little design. And it's something that, you know, obviously, it's unrealistic, if you will. Oops, 1 second. How should that? Okay, good. Yeah, it goes in that way. And on the front, we do a B13, which has to go in a particular way. B13. Those are both B13s. And I do wonder if BB-8 isn't a little bit of a Haro reference. Definitely has a very Haro feel. And granted, I mean, I think Haro in Gundam is a little bit of an R2-D2 reference. Okay, so they're saying there's a very particular way this should go on. Yep, there's a little... So, yep, all right, there's a little... It's a very tiny, you can just see it, very tiny little stud right there at the top. And there's a tiny little indentation right there at the top of that, and that's how those are supposed to go. How they mate. You know, you got it on right. Nicely done. All right, so that will go on this side. So there's the first the arm gripper. And it's one of the neat things about Star Wars is you can have these sort of more grungy robots next to more high-tech robots, next to very like some of the robot designs I love in the sort of cantina sequence in The Force Awakens feels like they're more from, you know, the cover of Golden Age science fiction stories where there's lots of weird chrome and you know, horns and such on some of these robots. And I love that. I love that idea that you can have these bizarre different styles all represented in the same universe because it's a big universe. You know, you don't want your universe to feel too samey. I was hoping you might be able to hear a 3D printer going in the background. I was hoping that print would be done by the time we start here, but that has another couple hours to go. It's a very long print. It's one of those things where it might be done, might not, but ran out of time. It is it's actually another vehicle design, but it's from the D&D Spelljammer universe. It's a really weird, concept and universe. It's basically sailing ships in space with magic. So you take a sailing ship and you put this spell jamming helm on it, and you can venture out from your planet, and you end up in these crystal spheres, and you can go kind of from one world to another, sailing the sea of the stars. Really, really neat. But then you get some crazy aliens out there, which have these really crazy ships, and among them are the Illithids, or the Mind Flayers, and they have these Nautilus-themed sort of sea creature-themed ships. So one of them is like a snail shell, and one of them is like an octopus. Hey, X225W, yes, we are celebrating the 1-year war by assembling model kits of the least effective unit in the Earth Federation arsenal, understandably. Alright, so then we add a B-13 onto that. So we'll get at least one here, if not two tonight, because this kit actually has 2 balls in it, which is kind of fun. But if I get this one done, like I said, I'm going to play around a little bit with a black marker and doing edges, just to see what that would feel like. So again, we got to align these so it goes in just right. And I'm also going to measure some of these so I can 3D print some weird little, you know, some broken pieces. That'll be fun. B16 goes on the other end. There's B16. I think this just, yeah, just pops right off. It's on very, very loosely. And there. And I think one of these days I'll get a file, because files I think will be a little more delicate than sandpaper. And so this goes on that way. Oh, one second. So yeah, so this thing I'm 3D printing is an octopus-shaped spaceship, which is pretty rad, pretty crazy. All right, so there's the beginnings of those arms. I think we got those pretty good. Something there about how they're put in. Okay, I think that makes sense. All right, then we go on and we do the arms. So we start with a C2. Hey, Fisher, good to see you. C2. We're assembling some balls. Yep, cannon fodder, absolutely. Which means hats off to the brave men and women who fought in them. C2 and a C7. Here's a 7. And so we are building some balls. RX-79 balls. RX-79? RB-79, excuse me. One of these days I'll figure out what those numbers represent, if anything. Probably just random letters that have since been retrofitted into useful names. Alright, so that goes... Yep, that goes there. And then we attach it to a C1. C1. let's see. So once I get through Vampire Princess Miyu, I'll move on from that to Nadia and the Secret of Blue Water, going chronologically through a bunch of classic anime. Then from there, Evangelion, and then through to a bunch of other things. And if I can continue this pace, well, actually, if I can accelerate this pace, then I will be able to get to more recent series. And if I do that, then by the end of the year, the plan is to do Iron-Blooded Orphans and Twilight Axis. Alright, so there's the bases of the arm. Out of that I attach a C6 for the... Yep, there we go. And that's the ball and socket joint. Okay. Yep, brave yellow shirts die with honor. A lot of dying with honor in the Gundam universes. That's kind of what people do. Okay, and again, you can see there's a little bit of a stud right there on that end, and that's going to mate, they say, to, yep, you see the bottom of this is not as rounded. That's how that connects together. And then we assemble a gripper arm, which consists of a C3, which is just a gripper. Okay, so it looks like this gripper is pretty... Wow. Okay, so the gripper on this is non-functional. It's just a, it's not open and close. It's just a piece of plastic. So that might be something I play around with a bit. And then C4 and C5 for each side. C5 goes on this side. So I put C5 on that side, and a C4 on the other. Yeah, C4. Blue Destiny needs a series. Yeah. A lot of Gundam could use series. Ball building. Yeah. Constructing some things. Yeah, the whole ball thing is certainly something that we could, I'm sure folks do a lot of lolling about. A little immature. Okay, so those go, that'll go in here on one side. That'll go over here on the other. There we go. Alright, so there's the gripper there. That will go, it looks like, okay, yeah, there's no orientation because we want to be able to spin that however we want, and then the arm changes. So that is, it doesn't really matter. That'll be our, there we go. That's funny. So you see how there's a, that's a ball, technically a ball and socket joint, but when it goes all the way in, oh, I see. So it can go all the way in, but if you pull it out a little bit, and it does have some freedom. So you can kind of have it, but if you can pop it all the way out. So that's, all right. So they give you some options for a degree of freedom, but it's kind of up to you. Yeah, C4, stand back. Oh no. All right. So we have our first arm. That's cool. We'll do the other arm. This is coming together in no time flat. So we may have both of these done tonight. C2. Let's see. Do that. Yeah, I really want to watch more Gundam. Although I'll be honest, this may not be the best place to say this, but I am not quite as rabid of a Gundam fan as I was before. Like, I still love it. I still enjoy it. But I'm not quite as, oh my gosh, I have to watch everything they've done, kind of fan as I used to be. I'm not consuming mass quantities. But I do enjoy what I see. Loving Gundam the Origin, all that stuff. C1. Yeah, there it is. So it has you know, it is interesting to me how much that's changed for me. Where I used to just be like, I'm gonna watch every Gundam ever, you know, as soon as I can, and now, you know, I can watch that with other stuff. I'm not quite jumping on things. Maybe it's because I've seen so much of it, right? It's like, it's awesome, but it's like I was starving before, and now I'm more hungry, I guess. I'm looking forward to it, but I guess after you consume, you know, gosh, 500 episodes of Gundam, whatever. You know, I've seen like 10 different Gundam series that are 50 episodes each. So yeah, like 500. Gosh, a lot of episodes of Gundam. You know, the acquisition rate slows down. It doesn't stop. It's not like I'll never watch any more Gundam, but it is interesting how you can kind of shift that a little bit. Okay. So there's the middle thing, then C5, and again C4. Ah! C5 goes on this side. I am very curious to see, whoops, what's coming up after Origin, as this whole thing of the... There will be more Origin after Origin, even though it's only 6 episodes. So I'm curious what they're doing there. If they're going to basically do an Origin TV series, it is a sequel to the OVA. It is basically a reanimated Mobile Suit Gundam. That's what they've been talking about doing for years and years and years. But it's never really materialized. So I wonder if we'll get that or not. Seems like a long shot. Seems like a slightly odd thing to do. Okay. Yep. Oh, wait. No, the cylinder is a separate thing. Right, C6. I mean, on the one hand, I totally understand the idea of remaking original Gundam for the modern audience that's just not going to go back and watch 70s anime. 70s animation. And this is where we have to mate that very carefully. And then in it goes. Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a ball. That ball is complete, other than the gun, obviously, which we'll do next. So yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Nice posability. Let's do the guns. There are 2 different guns here, actually. There's one big gun, and then a kind of 2 smaller dual guns, one for each one. So we'll do the big one first. That is an A8 and an A7. What's interesting about this, too, I'm not sure why they do this, but like on this plate, on the bottom it says ABS. And I don't know why they call out the fact this is ABS plastic, as opposed to everything else. Kind of interesting. Now when they have the rubbery plastic, they call that out, and that makes sense. Have you ever tried those paper nail files? You can get right up in there. You can handle the file a little easier than the paper sheet. I have not, but I'm going to. I've been using sandpaper because that's what I've had around. I just have, you know, I don't, you know, file my nails very carefully. I have a tiny little nail file on the end of my nail clippers that I use for my actual nails. But now that I've seen people now that I've seen how people actually use nail files for these things, I'll go to like CVS tomorrow and pick up a nail file. So I wonder what the big gun is. I wonder where the big gun might be on this. I don't know. Do you see a big gun somewhere that I could pick? I don't know. Oh! Yep. Gotta be careful here because it's so big. It will tend to... Thank you. But yeah, those nail files definitely make sense. One thing I might also try a little bit is Rub and Buff, which is, again, a thing you can definitely loll about. But it's basically a quasi-paint that you can brush onto things to give it a metal sheen. And I think I might try that on these just to try, see if I can get this looking more metallic. Maybe an interesting experiment. And these are a great way of doing that because, something like these ball figurines, these ball Gunpla, because if I mess one up, I just buy another box for like $15. Like, that is totally something I'm willing to do. Alright, so there's a connected between them, C8. C8. Yeah, good. That came together in like 45 minutes. Come on, C8, come on. Come out, come out. Have you guys seen the trailer for the new Rampage movie? That's weird. Because I grew up with Rampage, the video game, which is clearly what that is referencing, where you basically play a giant monster that's destroying cities. It's basically Godzilla, the video game. And the idea that they're making kind of a quasi-serious movie out of it is just bizarre. Alright, so there's that half, and then we have this thing, which goes in here, I guess. Yep, and then goes in there. Interesting. That little plastic bit goes in the middle, and I guess just gives it some structural integrity, just keeps it from smooshing. Okay. Then we attach A10 onto the back. That's A10. A10. There's a little cap. Yeah, all these kaijus with the rock involved. And just what's weird about it is that the trailers are all about this serious connection he has with a kaiju, and I'm like, that's not what I'm going to go to see that movie for. Like, I do not care about the rock's emotional connection to the kaiju. I'm glad it's there. I think it's an interesting subplot, but when the vast majority of your trailer is about the rock being an emotional person, I'm like, that's just okay. The people making the trailer, I think, kind of missed the sell on that one. But you're right. It looks fun. Definitely looks fun. A9. Ooh. A9's a delicate little piece there. Ooh. A little rack thing that goes on here. Yeah. Okay. And then A12, which is like a sight, it looks like. Yep. I don't know anyone who's like, kaiju movie. Let me see more about who cares about the kaiju. A11, which is like a scope. He becomes a kaiju. That would be awesome. Well, that's the other thing I'm thinking of, because in the original Rampage, you're actually a person who transforms into a kaiju. And so I was kind of wondering if that wasn't where they were going with that. Is there a... nope, there is one part that goes on different than the other. So there's apparently one side that has markings on the inside of the barrel, it looks like. Wow, okay, yep, so that goes there. And then we have the kind of the rack that goes around it. Is it? Yeah. A18 and A17. Which is kind of what holds it in place. Yep. He took his job, man. Freaking illegal aliens coming in. Illegal kaijus coming in and taking our jobs, man. Come on. Whoa. Where'd that go? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There it is. Good. Of course, one of the advantages of a nail file is that it's a little more portable than sandpaper is. And it lasts a little longer. Okay, that looks pretty good. Get that off. Yeah, John Boyega. That was a shock. I did not know he was cast in that. And I saw the until I saw the trailer, and I was like, oh, isn't that is the guy. Good for him. I mean, you know, that Star Wars thing might not pan out after all. That's weird. There. Okay, so that goes there. Hadn't fully closed up the gun. All right, there. Cool. So there's that, and then. Okay. Yep. Whoop. All right. Ball one done. All right, I'm going to grab some water. I'll be back in about 30 seconds. Ah. uh. That is not an image I wanted to think about. Okay. So, let's build our second ball. You know, I was thinking, while I was grabbing my water here, you know, The Rock would fit in fairly well, I think, as an actor in a Gundam movie. A live-action Gundam movie. Like, you know how you often have the sort of over-the-top villain characters in Gundam? The you know, really self-important Xeon characters, things like that. I think Rock would fit in rather well. Or as like a Titan. I think The Rock would make a very good Titan. So yeah, I'd love to, you know, find some space for him. Ooh, you know what? Oh man, oh, at the end of original Gundam, the big, huge, muscled guy. What is his name? There's Girin, Dozel. The Rock should play Dozel Zabi. in the live action Gundam adaptation, just right there. He was born to play Dozle Zabi. He was in Doom, which I thoroughly enjoyed Doom, by the way, until the last, like, 15 minutes when they turned it into a weird CGI thing. But, you know, Doom as essentially alien movie, I thought worked very, very well. But yeah, he should totally give it. So that opens the obvious question, which we must now delve into. Let's say they're casting a live-action Mobile Suit Gundam movie, adapting First Gundam. You know, big budget. Presumably, Amuro and the others are going to cast new actors. They're going to follow the the Marvel script there. So you've got Amuro and Fraubo and basically all the teenage characters will probably be new actors, all the 15-year-olds, if you will. But how about everyone else? So who's going to be Bright Noah, for example? I think you could cast a known actor as Bright. Have to be fairly young, but who do you think would be a good Bright Noah? I think the guy who played Robin in The Dark Knight, I'm forgetting his name. He was in Inception. I think he'd be a good Bright. He's obviously a little older, but I think he could do it. But who would you cast as in that movie? As Bright or otherwise? Where's A13? A13. Huh? Wait a minute. Oh, right. I'm trying to reuse all of the plastic sheets for the second one when I have a whole other set of plastic sheets. Like, well, duh. See, I think, and again, I'm forgetting his name. He'd be good for Bright. Ooh, who plays, maybe I'm getting them wrong. Is Dozle the leader of Zeon? Maybe I'm getting those names wrong. I gotta remember that. Zeon family. I guess. Personality of Zeon. Oh, Zabi family. See, I'm getting of Zabis. No. Don't do that. Will that load? Yeah, so it's Dozle Zabi I'm thinking of. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah, I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt is our Bright. Yeah, Dozle is definitely The Rock. Who's Degwin? The bald, head of Zabi, older. If he was still alive, it would probably be Orson Welles. Or someone like that. But, I don't know. That's a tough one. Who's Cassilia? Who's Giran? Ooh, Giran's interesting. Who do you cast as Giran Zabi? I think on that one for a second. Giran Zabi. You might have to go really weird on Giran. Yeah, just Joseph Gordon-Levitt, yeah. For that. Gosh. Man, Giran's tough. Because he has to have charisma, but also be evil. He has to have that intensity. You need something kind of like the guy who played Lex Luthor in there. In the most recent Batman v Superman. I mean, not necessarily him, but someone have that kind of an approach to the character, I think. Hey, Tandem T. Where should I watch Fundamental Gundam? Wherever you can find it. I mean, I think it's on Crunchyroll, right? Isn't Gundam on Crunchyroll? Original Gundam? I think a lot of it is. Watch it wherever you can find it. Right, two halves of the ball go together now. or if you can find it legally, I should say. Yeah, gosh, an actor with intensity who could do Giran. I don't know. That's a tough one. I'll have to come back to that one. I mean, you could do David Tennant for Giran. David Tennant could go crazy. He could go intense. You know, he could do that kind of a thing. He's the right age. I think Tennant's the right one for that. Yeah, that's gonna be the Ace Ventura guy. Yeah, I don't think so. He'd probably be brilliant actually as Giran. But I think David Tennant, yeah, for Giran. How about Cassilia? Cassilia's interesting because she's a femme fatale, but she's kind of noble. Like you respect Cassilia. You understand where she's coming from. She was just kind of born into this crazy family, and is doing the best she can. And I mean, she's not the nicest person either, but you kind of understand where she's coming from to an extent. All right, so the two halves come together. Oh, but we have to put these in first. That goes like, how do we do this? That goes like that. Where do I watch it? I think it's the ones I've seen have been on Crunchyroll, but I do fan subs. I had to do fan subs back in the day because it just wasn't available anywhere else, frankly. So I did a lot of fan subbed, but now I bought a lot more on DVD, Amazon. I think Amazon probably be a good place to go. Amazon's got to have a lot of it on DVD. White Stuff's releasing a lot of it that way. So, yeah, I would say Amazon would be a good option. All right, there's that. Now we put on the cap, which is B10 and C8. Oops. Helps to be on the right sheet. Yeah, I'm one of those old school Gundam fans who watched it before it was legally out in the US, much of it. Then went back and bought DVD copies of all of it on Amazon and White Stuff and such once it was available. One of those crazy people. So there's B10, and then C8 is the connector there. Okay. And yeah, this is not too bad audio-wise. It's a little repetitive, and I will work to fix that. And be aware that I believe those are both pirate sites, bootleg sites. So all of the normal warnings about that, and making sure you don't click on any weird ads. You gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, Cassilia's tough. You gotta have somebody serious for the admiral, or the commander of White Base who doesn't make it very long. So he'd have to be like some grizzled old actor. You can kind of go anywhere with that. That's pretty easy. There's our little top hat, B5 and B14. To start on the sections around the cockpit. That's okay, Kuma. I am not saying that no one should ever go to a fan sub site. Like those are sometimes necessary. Just saying, be aware. I've certainly watched lots and lots of fan subs in my day. And it's just kind of the nature of the experience. The nature of the hobby. And the fan sub sites, most of them are pretty pretty safe in terms of weird pop-ups and such. Sometimes they're on advertising networks that get some slightly unsafe ads, but these days that's less of a concern than it used to be. Okay. There's that, and then I think the cockpit stuff goes in afterwards. There we go. Get a ball for your GM collection, absolutely. So A14 goes in. There's our cockpit glass. We're not going to do that. And again, and forget to put in our cockpit glass. Get that off. Get that off. Okay. So that will go in like this. Around the cockpit. Interesting, there's no person in the cockpit. It's empty. And around that goes A2 and A3. A2 and A3. That's easy. But yeah, there's something fun about balls. I guess partly too because balls they don't look like Gundams or Zaku's. They don't look like giant robots. Just the design aesthetic is so different from what you normally see. When you see a line of model kits, one right after the other, and you see a ball, it just kind of leaps out at you as something different and interesting. All right, so that fits in. So it's a little complicated here because of the geometries. Gotta make sure this is going in the right way. Going like that, or like, no, it's got to be that way. All right, and then goes like that. There we go. Cool. I would argue it's not almost impossible to get legally because I'm pretty sure Amazon delivers to South America. Maybe expensive in South America. I will certainly agree with you there. But I would argue that makes it quite possible to get in other places. But you're right, I do not live in South America. Live in the north of America, where it is currently actually rather balmy. We're finally getting our spring. Spring has been kind of late this year for us. Although we got a nice period in, I think, early February. It was quite warm for a few weeks, and it just got cold for weeks and weeks. And now we're finally getting our weather. We can actually go out and not have to wear a jacket all day, or a coat all day, I should say. Still need to wear a jacket. All right, so there's the little weird booster backpack. Goes on the back like that. And we assemble the bottom, which is B11 and B12, which is this interesting little thing here. Okay. Legal streaming, true. Yes, that is. Legal streaming is certainly a lot harder to get in South America. That is certainly true. Europe, cool. Europe is cool. What part of Europe, Kuma? Europe's a big place. So I'm hoping to make it over to Europe sometime in the near future. The next few years. Yeah, and this little bottom thing. That's funny, WebFox. Wouldn't surprise me. Yep. They're gonna buy everything else. Sure seems like it. Alright, so there's our bottom maneuvering thrusters on the bottom of our ball. And then we'll add the actual thruster bottom thingies here. Sorry for knocking into that. Inguland. Ingurisu. Cool, cool. I was just reading something that was set in England. I forget what. Probably porn. Alright. Early April Fools. Yeah, I should upload a news video tomorrow about Disney buying Gundam. That'd be funny. Alright, B6 goes on either side. More thrusters. Yep. Interesting. This one's offset. So you see how this one is off to the side a little bit, and that's all stuck on there. Like that's not doesn't seem to be a manufacturing flaw. It was the same thing on the other one. Oh no, I take that back. It was pushed up. Interesting. No, it was fiction. It wasn't anime. Set in England. It's weird because there's not much fiction set in England, right? Maybe it was all those detective fiction recommendations from last night I'm thinking of. With Sherlock Holmes. Did you know there's an Agatha Christie anime? There's a Miss Marple meets Hercule Poirot anime series. Came out like a decade ago. Yep. Right. Side thrusters go on. Alright, there are thrusters. There's our things on the bottom. Now we work on the arms. Yeah, this is coming together nice, very nicely. So we have B18 and B8. Yeah, I watched a bit of it and I was like, this is a really good adaptation of Miss Marple and Hercule Poirot, and I've read all these stories. Why am I watching this? I mean, I could for the oddity. And I was like, now that I know it exists, I don't really need to watch it. Looked fun though. Looked pretty. All right. Whoops. Wrong way around. I think. Yep. Come on. Bink. Alrighty. And then B16, which are the end caps. Or is the end cap, rather. Let's see here. And I guess you'd need some kind of hot young woman for Matilda-san, of course, for our live action thing. Gee, where are you gonna find a pretty girl in Hollywood? That's a really tough one. I think that's gonna be a big thing stopping them making a movie, is finding an attractive young woman in Hollywood. Alright, there's that. That will go on this side. Boink. One thing I do love about doing these things is once you get into the rhythm and you know what you're doing, it just comes very, very quickly. B9 and B17. Oh wait, Trinidad, of course. Of course, I know that, Fisher. In fact, one of the women in the post office now knows me very well because she learned your address from my being in there several times to ship things out. Like, oh yeah, you're the Trinidad guy, you're the West Indies guy. Like, yep. So that's cool. Like, why are you sending all this stuff to the West Indies? Well, it's all drugs. It's all drugs. Oops, come on. No! you? Come back out. Oh yeah, Bill Divers is coming out. I'll try to check that out. Why isn't this going in? Why isn't that going in? What am I doing wrong? Got a little, oh, yep. Didn't realize that tag was sticking out. Okay. Yeah. That's basically what I am, apparently. Okay, there we are. B16 and B13 for the rest of this little arm piece. Then, like I said, oh, and we've got the Zaku eye to glue in, and we'll try some lines on this. Let's get a feel for it. Yep. Anytime I'm shipping anything overseas, it's always drugs. But yeah, man, do I enjoy the Gundam build universe. Like that was such a surprisingly fun discovery. How fun that was. All right, moving on to the arms. Nice. Toonami's almost done with IBO. Cool. Yeah, good timing. And it certainly seems like Sunrise Bandai are pushing the Gundam build sub-franchise right now, that universe right now. That's just hot. They're doubling down on it. I am not complaining about. I think it's going to be one of those things that'll be big for a few years and will fizzle pretty quickly. I just can't imagine that lasting a hugely long time. But you strike while the iron is hot. C7 for the barrel. Yeah, I want more Gunpla builders too. I'm sure it's coming. I'm fairly confident they'll do another Gundam builders story. We still don't know what happened to Reiji. Like, what's the whole deal with Reiji? Come on. Like the whole mystery of his universe, his origin, still not completely explained. C4, C5, C3. C4. No. I'm curious about what the next sort of mainline Gundam series is going to be. You know, IBO came out a little while ago. It feels like it is time for them to start teasing at least the next Gundam series, and maybe that'll be this this Origin remake, this original Gundam remake. And C3, yep. Oh, beginning G, yeah. Oh, I agree. I would like to go back to that little universe too. That was fun. The horse riding Char clone was just hilarious. Like, we all know this character is ridiculous. Let's just make him ridiculous. Oops. Let's just up the ridiculousness of the Char clone in this one. That's fun. Alright. Thank you very much for stopping by. As always, Kuma, have a great night and evening. I'll be back tomorrow with some more giant robot action. Titanfall 2. Have a great April Fools. Oops. C6. Yep, trust nothing tomorrow. Trust no news stories. Personally, I like April Fools. I like looking through the news stories and wondering what's, you know, what's next. Or rather, what's fake and what's not. I think it's a fun way of playing around with expectations. There's that. Back C2, C1, and C7. Gundam Breakers, Gundam Divers, true. Dive breakers. Gundam build dive breakers. Come on. Ah, there we go. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. It's exciting to be closing in on the completion of both of these balls. Gundam Fate. That's funny. I'm surprised. I mean, somebody probably has, but it would make sense to do a, Gundam Macross crossover. Gundam Mac crossover. April Fool's announcement. The next Gundam series will be, the Zentradi invasion. Not that I wouldn't. Wouldn't love that. Gundam Macross crossover? Yes, yes, please. Alright, so C4 and C5 and that. Oh no, C4! And it, whoop, 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 whoop. There we go. And it's crazy how easy it is for people to make that stuff now. Just do their own videos, their own crossover things. Oops, what happened? Yeah, restart. It could happen to you if you're young at heart. I would too. I was just watching a video about how Exo Squad, the legendary and sadly forgotten American animated series, that was sort of the Gundam of 80s American cartoons that just nobody ever watched. They had this thing where the toy company licensed the Macross models and sold like Valkyries and Zentradi battle pods as Exo Squad toys. And the season 3, they only got one episode of season 3 done, and it ends with this tease of this alien menace showing up in universe. Because up to that point, it had all been humans and human Neo-Sapiens and other sort of human-created things. And so the fan theory was that they had licensed Macross so that there would be a Zentradi invasion of Exo Squad, which would have been epic. But unlikely. Much more likely they just, the toy company just managed to get a license so they could pump out more toys. But it wasn't actually part of the plot. Alrighty, there's our second ball. Oh, nice! Yeah, they got Exo Squad on DVD finally. I need to pick that up at some point. I downloaded a fan copy long ago when it was not out, so I need to go and support it and get that. Yeah, Exo Squad. What I've seen of Exo Squad, which is the first 10 episodes or so, is very impressive. It is absolutely, an attempt to do. And I mean, they would talk about Gundam during interviews about how they plotted it out and saying that well, whereas Gundam did this, we were doing this. So they were very aware of that. All right, so let's do these dual guns. We have a 19 and a 21. So technically, we can do the big gun and the little gun for both of them. We could have each. But I'm not really in the mood. A19, A21. 19. Oh, interesting. Okay. 19. Don't need to do that on stream. Robotech Voltron comics. Cool. Okay. Good. What's funny is this music is all auto-generated by my software, but I would not be surprised if I get a takedown notice because someone's like, well, I generated something very similar to this at one point, and I've copyrighted it. Craziness. A6. A6. Gundam rocked Ready Player One. Good to hear that. Yeah, I might go see Ready Player One over the weekend. Actually, no, I won't. I know I won't have the time, but maybe sometime this week. Okay, there we go. There's a little fitting. There we go. And then we... Okay, a whole set of things. A15 and A16, which is right there. Now, a lot to these side guns. I did not see the... I don't think I saw the Gundam Easter egg in Pacific Rim Uprising. What was the Easter egg there? And there was actually a quasi-Gundam Easter egg in original Pacific Rim. In the Russian mecha was based off of Zaku. Or Jaeger, rather. C9. C9. That's interesting. So this goes into... So we're going at this like this, and then this goes in like that. Okay, and then this goes in like that. Alrighty. Interesting. Alright, so that's the middle of this. And then this connects there. Then we put an A5 onto that, which is that. Complicated. Yeah. Oh, nice. A unicorn statue. Awesome. I'll have to look for that. Oh, you're not hearing the music? I have music going on in the background, very low. Let's try, see here, where's my thing? I will lower that a little bit, and then... See if you can hear that. Just a few seconds. Cool. I'll have to do a better eye for that. Alright. This goes on the front of this. Looks like there's no orientation other than that. Okay, good. And then we do the other side, which is A20 and A22. Makes sense, those two. Just hear beeps. Well, I guess it's just too soft for your microphones, I'm afraid. Or too soft for your speakers. I'm too subtle, man. Too subtle for you. Yep. And then an A6 goes on the end of that. A6. End of the barrel. Yep. And that should go on like this. Yay. Okay, there we go. And then that will go on here. Okay, oh, we're not quite done yet because there's a little platform thing. Cool. So we have a little base for this so it doesn't roll all over your table. That makes sense. Ah, cool. We're out of the escape pod. I will keep an eye out. So we have this base, and we have C11, which is this little thing, which goes on the side. Then we have a C10, which is a little, and we'll obviously we'll do this also for the other ball. Huh, weird. Yeah, Kuma was saying she could hear it fine. I say she. Kuma. Alright, so that should go here. I can also attach to a full thing. But for now, we'll just do that. So there's our little stand for our guy. So we'll do that. And we'll do that on the other one as well. So we have our platforms. And like I said, we'll finish up the Zaku. And we'll try doing some lines, painting in some lines on these things. Let's see here. There we go. How's that? Do you hear that? Is that coming through? And then the little thing goes in like that. And then the ring. Like I was telling Kuma, one of the problems is that I have like 3 different volume controls here. I don't quite know where. You know, it sounds good in my headphones, but that may not be what you're hearing. Okay. So, earlier I was playing around with the Zaku. So we'll get that, and then we'll come back and play around with the inking on these. Doing some lines on these. And I had this problem with its head. I lost the little eye that goes into the head. So I painted clear plastic with some red paint. And I'm going to try to glue that, whoa, see the problem there, right into here as its eye. That's going to be tricky, but we'll give it a try. In fact, I think I will do it that way. Here's something now, too quiet to make out. Okay, fair enough. And then we do this. And we puncture that. And we put that back on. Wondering, yeah, I can use that. So I'm just going to, and does that actually turn? I think it's supposed to turn, but I'm not going to turn it. Should I pop that off first so I have more access? Can I pop it off so I have more access? I'm not sure. Is it possible to... Ah! Okay, but I'm going to do it anyway. Alright, so I now have better access to that. So I'm going to put some glue. This is gel. Super glue. So it's not going to run everywhere. I'm going to try to squeeze that out. It just opens, so there's a lot of air in there. Come on, come out. There it comes. Alright. I've got a bunch on there. Then I'm going to put the glass eye on there. Ah. Oh, sticking to my finger. Dang it. Get off there. Alright. More glue. Put it on there. Bring the hand away. Alright, and we've got to hope that that will fit. What grade are those balls? High grade. I have high grade balls. I think, yes. That is a very odd sounding question. That's funny. Yep, so high grade ball twin set, which is nice. So I think it's $20 for this. So we're going to put that off to the side, and hopefully that we'll reassemble that, and it'll be happy. Cross fingers. Meanwhile, let's go back to our balls. I will grab my. I will grab a pen. Come out of here. Come on, get to me. Here. Here we go. No. Alright. What have I got? So I have never, ever done this before. In terms of putting lines on your model kits. Let me just see what I've got here. These are obviously not. That is not a fine point marker pen. I think that's going to be finer point. Yeah, it might be. It's also essentially out of ink, so I'm going to throw it away. Okay. So this is, I think, the finest point pen I have. Certainly finer point than this 3. Maybe about right. Yeah. 3 might be as much as... I don't think I have a 1. An 01. So, yeah. Let's see what happens. Getting a bit of definition. That. Come back in and fix those lines. Fix that smudging. Oop, that popped right off. Yeah, I'm just applying lines around this. Just in the seams. See what happens. Sometimes it's not really coming out. I'm sure that's technique. Interesting. I'm not sure that I like this better. I do feel like I need a thinner pen, though. Oh, that's nice. Ah. Okay. Smudges all over the place. Well, that's easy to clean up. A little soap and water will clean that right up. If I know my inks at all. Okay. Whoa. Alright. So I'm just putting lines in there. Let me get that more defined. Yeah, this may be a matter of my my pen. Ooh, that's terrible. Oh, actually, no, I don't think we want that there. Anyway, so here's what it looks like with inking, just on the ball itself. That's not bad, actually. I'm not horrified by that. Yeah, I need to be more careful with those lines. That does make it feel a little bit more anime, actually. Let me try a bit more. The question, that, of course, also is, where do you actually want your lines? Do I want... Yeah, I think I want some here. Just to accentuate that curve. It could feel more like an actual art line. Because the problem is, you don't want to necessarily articulate every seam, I would imagine, because they wouldn't do that on the anime, right? They're not going to draw in all of these different seams down here. Those seams are just there so the plastic will come together. Maybe we want them up here? That seems a bit excessive. I should look online. I think we want one down here. Of course, it doesn't help that my hands shake constantly. I'm very much a hand-shaky kind of guy, so to speak. Yeah. But yeah, I do like this idea of adding lines. I should go to the store and get an extremely fine pen for this. That is clearly... will clearly be better than this. This feels a little too strong. But it does feel more like an anime drawing. Decals, nice. Yep. Yeah, and you have these really thin seams in there. You might not be able to see it. There's really thin seams there, which I'm not even going to try with this pen because it can't get into that edge or into that seam. But I think it might look nice if we had that seam done. But yeah, that's not bad at all. Wipe off that smudging. Okay. Yeah. Alright, I'm not going to do anything more with that just now. I think it's one of those things where I need to come back to this later and say and look at them side by side and say, ooh, yeah, that's good, that's bad, this needs to go. But, yeah, I'm happy with that idea. I might end up doing something similar to this. And I should come back with a better pen. A thinner pen. Try and get... The line does not want to go in there. Yeah, I definitely need a finer pen. Yeah. Interestingly, there's no decals on this model that I can tell. It's just a straight up thing. Cool. Okay, that was actually, you know, I might have one. I think I bought a box of pens. Ah. Yep. This 0.05. 0.005. 0.05. Holy smokes. Okay. Yes, I have a thin pen. Let's play around with that a little bit. Where should I try the 0.05 pen? Let's try it. Let's try it on that seam. Okay, yeah, it's a little difficult, but it does go on. And that does add a significant, look at that. Yeah. Yeah. You see those lines? That's definitely stronger. I mean, ideally, I go to all of those little things. So let's just try, just for fun, all these little lines here. That looks nice. That looks very nice. Wow. Yeah, that's a big improvement. I think I can... Yeah. Getting all those little lines done. That definitely finishes that off. You could even do all these little lines in here. Those lines around there. Wow. I think I would go insane if I tried. But let me just at least do these down here as well. Thanks, Fisher. Yep. Thanks to all of you who sacrificed your lives in balls. Which again is a weird thing to say. Wow. Yeah, now I understand the appeal of drawing in all these little lines. It absolutely strengthens the appeal of it. Oh, yeah, okay. Little dots. So this is on that side. So we have these little... Dang. These little, like, vents here. They're tiny indentations in the plastic. I'm going to try... Whoop. Okay. It's practically impossible. Okay. Kind of battle damage there. We'll pretend that's carbon scoring. But we can still get those little dots in. Let's try that. Yeah. Not thrilled. What else have we got? Oh, interesting. Okay, so they paint in... That'd be an interesting thing to play around with. We could do that. So I'm going to... Yeah, peace in our time. I'm going to color in these. You see how you have these gray studs that those came in. I'm just going to color those black with a thick black marker. I mean, ideally I'd use paint, but just for now, I can use a Sharpie on that. It's not going to cover it very well, but it will at least make it look a little better. Yeah, it's not really doing much. Yeah, and then we're just going to do a similar thing down there, just kind of a dry brush. Yeah, I should probably go down there with something more serious, but that's a little better at least. What else do they do? Oh, okay, yeah, little marks in there. Let's do that. Right on my, is this the... Yep. Little marks around the cockpit. Not easy, but boy does it make a difference. Alright, get out of my way. Yeah, so you see there's a regular cockpit. Maybe you can't see that very well. And there's a cockpit with the lines added. Now you can't really see it. Panel lining, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I do want to get to airbrushing at some point as well. Like that'll be a huge thing. Alright. Looks like they do But then, oh, I should also do here. Yeah. Oops. Okay. And then we should go in here as well. These vents, definitely. Nice and thick. I could probably even use a wider tip on those. That'll do. Yeah, that's nice definition. Up in here. And go in here as well. Okay. Yeah, this would have been much better all around here if I was using a thinner pen. But now I know. So, they definitely do there. It looks like they do around there as well. Okay, so we'll do that line. As tricky as it is. Come out. Come out, come out, come wherever you are. There you are. Okay, do that line around here. Okay, don't need to do that back there because it's so obvious. Up in there. Yeah, it is coming along. So we do... Whoa! Okay, let's try that again. Interesting. There's basically... This seam is pretty much perfect around here. Like right here. They just seem sealed together extremely well. So there's nothing for the pen to latch onto. Ooh. I'm just going to have to kind of do this by hand. It's going to be kind of messy. Ooh, okay. And then come along there. And do that. Okay. Yeah. Again, it's messy. But I'm learning. Okay, that's better than it was before. Okay. What did they do? Yeah. There. Well, that makes sense. Let's also do in... So these guys should be black. There's a little black in there. Same on the other side. This is fun. This is a new skill. It's a new addition to the awesomeness of the Gunpla. Ways of making it better. And what else was there that I was noticing? In there. Oh yeah. You pop these off, and we'll add a little bit of blackness. Use an eraser to take off lighting. Interesting. That's good to know. So there's the 5. I'm going to take the tiny thing and just try to dot into the center of those, yeah, those little thrusters. Oops, it's a bit too much. Okay. Kind of can't get in there without, oh, I can pop that out, can't I? No, not really. Okay. Alright, so there's just a little bit of black in those thrusters, giving it some definition. And can I get in the edges of those? No, not really. Yeah, a little bit. Some of those parts of the thrusters I can hopefully get around. The gray plastic. Maybe I'll get a little bit more of that gray covered with the thin tipped pen. Yeah. That's getting more of it. Not every bit for some reason, even though it should be able to. But that's much better. Yeah, so those thrusters now have some of that black in them. Hey, Rockman! Welcome, welcome. Alright, so let's put this back on. Alright, so there's our inked ball next to our uninked ball. And yeah, the inking definitely makes a big difference. Definitely feels a little bit more anime with the lines, just giving it that definition. Making it feel a little bit more like something's up there. So good to know. Exactly. All right, so that is funny. Yeah, you would die constantly in a video game where you play balls. I think they do have balls in some of the fighting games, which is funny. All right, so the eye here on the Zaku is almost certainly dried. Let me see if I can get this back on. Ooh, that's gonna be complicated. And then this, I think, just clips on there. Yeah, okay. And then hopefully the cap goes on. Will it go on? Oh. Hold on. This did not connect correctly. These need to come back so that those can fit very fiddly here. This is not my favorite design. Okay, I think that's good. And then the head goes on. Again, hopefully this will fit. It's trying to fit. It is not fitting very well. No, I think the eye's too big. Dang it. So there's our Zaku with its eye. But if you look closely, you'll notice that the head is not fitting onto there. So the eye looks awesome. That's exactly what I want. But it's not right. Alright, let me see if I can pop this. Oh, and those sure. Gah. Oh, those fell right off. Okay. See if I can get the head off. What's the problem? What's the deal? Am I just not orienting it correctly? It's a little fiddly. I mean, I'm actually not horrified with that. I might be able to live with that. Just because the eye looks so cool. But first off, this cap needs to go on in such a way that it captures both of those little doodly whoppers, which it does not want to do. Okay. Are they captured? No, they're not. Coming right out. Oh, they just don't. Okay. But hopefully. Jeez. All right, those can fall off. They're gonna have to fall off. That's how that's supposed to be. And I put that in there. Will it all fit? Doesn't want to all fit. Pacific Rim Gunpla, yeah. You and me both. That all fits on there. And this. Should go down like that. That's the orientation. Okay. It doesn't quite fit, but I'm going to live with it. It goes there, and that's just going to have to live there. And I think we do this, and that just kind of sits there. Okay. Where'd the little crown go? And he has his little crown. Where'd that go? Oh, there. No, no. Oh, I lost a little thing. That's okay. Huh, I'll have to look for the crown. But, meantime. Okay. There's our Zaku with his eye. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay that my little hack still works reasonably well. Alright. That'll do it for us for tonight. Thank you all very much for joining me for this episode of Kitbash. Like I said before, I'm going to play around a little bit with these, and I think I'm going to 3D print a like a busted arm. Maybe a version of this hand that with part of it blasted off or something. Let's just play around with some designs, and we'll try that next for next episode, which will be in 2 weeks, as usual. So hope to see you guys then. Saturday night, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. You guys have a great time. I'll be back actually tomorrow with some video gaming. Gonna play some Titanfall 2, hopefully. So hope to see you guys then. Have a great one. See ya.